I regretfully inform you that we are now going to do a mock draft on one of my least favorite teams, but I do respect. So at round 1, pick number 20, the Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock. What are they going to do, Nick?
All right, so here we go. First round, they get Tyler Linderbaum, center from Iowa. Linderbaum is clearly the number one center prospect in this year's draft, and he's going to slide right into that Pittsburgh offensive line day one and be a starter and a difference maker. Linderbaum's really aggressive guy in the run blocking game, really good athlete. In pass protection, he looks for work, which means he's never just sitting around guarding grass. He's always trying to find bodies. He moves very, very well. He's a little undersized, but I think that's okay because in Matt Canada's offense, they want to do some bootlegs and sprint outs and zone blocking kind of schemes anyway. So that kind of fits what they want to do. So I think it's a good fit for the Steelers to come in, bring in an offensive lineman, a center in Linderbaum, and just be an immediate upgrade in the middle of that offensive line.
Yeah, I really do agree with you here. And I love Linderbaum as a prospect. I think he is probably one of the better interior offensive linemen in the draft. I really thought that he was like my number 2 choice for Baltimore to pick up if they didn't go linebacker, which we're going to say that they're going to do early on in the draft. But I do like Linderbaum a lot. I think it's a great pickup, and I mainly like him because he's an Iowa offensive lineman, reminiscent of a Marshall Yanda. All great offensive linemen seem like they come from Iowa. So that's the side of the pick kind of caught my heart. But, I think the Steelers, this is great. Get offensive linemen, build for your future QB. Who do we have at number 2, though?
So at number 2, we have in the second round, we have him going offensive tackle from Washington State, Abraham Lucas. Lucas was a 4-year starter at Washington State. Now, the challenge with Lucas is he was a great pass blocker because that's all Washington State did. They threw the ball, they ran the air raid offense. Does not have a lot of experience in the run game. But when I watched Lucas, the guy, you brought up the Ravens, he reminded me so much of Orlando Brown coming out of Oklahoma. The guy's not the most technically sound. He doesn't really look the part. He looks kind of like not the leanest guy in the world, but he's just such a good blocker. He's just very, very effective. He almost rarely gets beat. I think he had one of the highest pass blocking rates in the entire country last year. I think he's a guy that can come in, and the Steelers have had issue at tackle ever since Villanueva left. So I think he's a guy who can come in and kind of step up and be either a left or right tackle and more of a pass protector as, like you said, they look to build for their future quarterback, whether it's Trubisky or someone else.
And another awesome thing I like here is I like the Steelers taking the Orlando Brown approach, okay? Baltimore drafted Brown even though he got knocked very hard for his size, his physical stature, his measurables. But sometimes we have to take a step back and look at the tape. If the guy is playing in an offense that's historically a great passing offense the past couple of years, Washington State, and he's a great pass blocker, he's probably going to translate well into the NFL as a pass blocker. If you can play on the field, like they said with Orlando Brown, you're playing against top-tier opponents at Oklahoma. If you can do the work, you can do the work. It doesn't necessarily matter what you look like. So, there's no body shaming on the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going to pick a guy for what he produces on the field, and I think that's something that we all need to get back a little bit to. Do they produce on the field? Let's go back to those old days where the scouts just look at guys and be like, yep, that guy can make the plays on the field. That's all that matters. Not did he get 800 reps on the bench, did he run a 4.240, and can he have a 50-inch vertical?
Yeah, I agree 100%. There's no body shaming in the NFL these days. But all right, in the third round, pick 84, I've got the Steelers going Marcus Jones. He's the corner out of Houston, played a little receiver. He's also a big kick returner. The Steelers lost Ray McLeod in the offseason. Jones can come in and fill that role right away. Was very, very dynamic, historically good kick returner and punt returner at Houston. Jones is very, very small. He's only about 5'8", but he's scary quick and scary fast. And the guy's kind of a playmaker, sort of like Lucas in the second round. He's a better football player in terms of what he does on the field than what he's going to look like measuring at the combine or anything like that. The guy caught 15 passes in his career. He's a corner, but he was so good they played him at wide receiver every once in a while at Houston. Caught 15 passes. Had a number of interceptions at Houston, was a kick returner and punt returner as well. The guy did it all. I think he's just a dynamic football player who's going to jump into Pittsburgh right away and replace McLeod as a returner and potentially grow into a role in that secondary.
Yeah, I remember playing the old NCAA games back in the day or the NFL games Madden games back in the day. And when your corner would go up to get a pick and drop it, they'd be like, Well, if he wanted so good hands, he'd be playing offense. That's why he's playing corner. All right. This guy actually did play on offense. So clearly he's got some really good hands. And like we constantly say, special teams is one of the key parts of a successful team. I think special teams wins championships will be something we hear coming in the coming years. The Bengals showed it when they drafted a kicker. Now, if you focus on a guy at a kick returner and a crucial third-round pick here, I think that'll do your team well. Baltimore has Devin Duvernay, and he's one of the best kick and punt returners in the country on yards per average on his returns. I think getting another guy for Pittsburgh to put back and replace your old kick returner is going to do your team dividends in the end. So I like the investment into special teams. He seems like a gadgety, versatile player. Maybe he can play some receiver. Maybe he plays corner. But he seems like a really good fit and one of the players that the Pittsburgh Steelers would grab.
Yeah, absolutely. In the recap, we had the Pittsburgh Steelers taking Tyler Linderbaum, the center out of Iowa in the first round. They go the offensive tackle, Abraham Lucas, out of Washington State in round 2. And to cap it all off in round 3, they take Marcus Jones, corner and dynamic kick returner out of Houston.